everyone, in this video I'm going to explain what you're going to do for your final writing exam. It's going to be about a community college survey of student engagement. Okay. With Outliers, with that book, we explored the factors that can lead people to success or prevent them from reaching their full potential. For your final exam, we will look more closely at college students at Palomar College. What do they need to be able to succeed? So you're watching this video. I'm going to tell you about a survey that was done at Palomar College about student engagement. And this video will explain the survey and the writing assignment. And you're actually going to use this survey as evidence to make recommendations for college students. And these are some resources for your writing. But first, let me explain what this survey is about. So CCSSE stands for Community College Survey of Student Engagement. And basically it's a questionnaire. They gave the survey to different colleges all over the United States, including Palomar College. Okay, and they ask them questions to find out, are students engaged? Are they active? Are they involved in the learning process in college? So this is a quote from their website. CCSSE provides information on student engagement, a key indicator of learning and therefore of the quality of community colleges. So knowing whether a student is engaged actually can inform a college whether the students are actually learning and if they're successful in that. How can students be successful in college? Well, one of the biggest things is engagement. The more actively engaged students are with the teachers, the college faculty, and the staff, meaning people in the offices or counselors, other students, and the subject matter they're studying. So the more actively involved they are with these people and things, the more likely they are to persist in their college studies. This means they don't quit and to achieve at higher levels. So basically, in short, people believe that student engagement leads to student success. So this is a theory. Now, this survey was administered at Palomar College in 2018 to students and faculty, and I'm going to show you the questions and the data. The survey was also given at colleges around the United States. The goal of the survey was for colleges to monitor how their college is doing in comparison to other colleges. Also, they can use the results to make necessary changes to help students be more engaged. So this survey was based on benchmarks, and a benchmark is basically something you can use as a way to judge the quality of something. So they had 5 benchmarks. These are the 5 ones that I'm going to talk about that. These are effective educational practices, and they're all related to student engagement. So I'm going to go over each one. And actually, you can pause the video here. I recommend reading through all these benchmarks. So this is what the survey was based on. And for each benchmark, there were questions asked on the survey. So let me talk about each one. Active and collaborative learning. This is related to being involved in your learning and working with your classmates or working with your teacher. So some of the questions that they asked were, how often have you done each of the following? Asked questions in class or contributed to class discussions, made a class presentation, worked with other students on projects, participated in community-based projects. So it's all about collaboration and being active. The second benchmark had to do with student effort. So they asked students questions like, how often have you done the following? Prepared 2 or more drafts of a paper or assignment before turning it in. So are students making an effort to improve their writing? How often have they come to class without completing reading or assignments? How much reading and writing have you done? How many books have you read on your own for personal enjoyment? How often have you used tutoring or skills labs? So this has to do with students' effort, students trying. Academic challenges related to how difficult college is. How challenging, like does it challenge their mind and make them grow and think? So they ask questions like, how often have you worked harder than you thought you could to meet an instructor's standards or expectations? Or how much has your coursework involved analyzing basic elements of an idea, forming a new idea, or understanding from various pieces of information? Making judgments about the value or soundness of information, arguments, or methods. That's kind of like what we did in this class about effectiveness and analyzing. Was it a sound argument or effective argument? So it asks different questions about whether they're actually academically challenged. The next one was student-faculty interaction, like how often do you use email to communicate with your teachers? How often do you use email? Do you discuss grades or assignments with the teacher, or talked about career plans with the teacher or advisor? So different things related to student-faculty interaction. And then support for learners. How much does this college emphasize the following? Helping you cope or deal with your non-academic responsibilities, like helping you deal with work and family, providing the support you need to thrive socially, that means to be happy and successful in society, providing you with financial support so you can afford your education, and how often have you used academic advising, planning, and career counseling? So I have posted all the results from this survey in this Excel file. So if you go to Canvas, you can find this Excel file, and it gives all the answers to the survey. So they surveyed so many people. Let me zoom in because it's kind of small. So this was for the first benchmark, active and collaborative learning. So in answer to the first one, how often have you asked questions in class or contributed to class discussions? 59 students said never, 526 said sometimes, 376 said often, and 283 said very often. So actually the majority had a pretty low response where they just say they sometimes ask questions. But not many people said never. So this is all the data from the survey, what came, and each benchmark, under each benchmark, you can find the questions. And in addition to the 5 benchmarks, they actually had a special focus item, which is about academic mindset. This is related to whether students feel welcome to the college and whether they feel they can change their intelligence by working hard. Basically, a growth mindset is an attitude that everyone can learn, no matter what. And these were the survey questions here, like I feel welcome and respected at this college. The college is preparing me for what I plan to do in life. I can learn all of the material being presented in my courses this academic term. So this idea that you can learn, it's not too hard, that you can, with effort, you can learn. Or I can become more intelligent by working hard on my studies. So this is sort of an academic and growth mindset. All of the questions were related to that. And for this, the results are actually in this executive summary, which you can also find here under sources. This is actually a summary of the results of this survey that was administered at Palomar. And you could read the whole thing actually if you want, and some of the things in the PowerPoint are actually from this summary. But I'll go down this special focus item. It gives you the results for each of the questions, like I feel welcome and respected at this college. 50% said strongly agree, and 34 said agree. So actually the large majority feel welcome and respected. But when it came to, is the college preparing me for what I plan to do in life? Actually, there wasn't as high of a percentage in strongly agree. There was quite a few neutral. Compared to other colleges, I don't think Palomar did as well here. But it gives you the results to all of these questions about growth mindset. So this is pretty interesting, especially even this figure right here, figure 8. I have good relationships with others at this college. It actually didn't have a super high strongly agree. Okay. Let me go back to this survey. So you can see the results. I posted links to the results. Overall, Palomar College actually did not do very well when it came to student engagement in all the categories. Compared to this cohort, basically this is all the other students in the United States that took the survey and the top performing colleges. We were the lowest in all the benchmarks. I mean, we were low in the benchmarks. And this chart basically compares us to extra large colleges. We're also lower, comparable to other extra large campuses, but not by a lot. I found this data, I requested it. It's actually related to international students. These were the benchmark scores. So in terms of active and collaborative learning, students whose first language is English was slightly higher than ESL students. But in some other categories, students whose first language was not English, like student effort and support for learners, they actually scored quite high or higher than students whose first language is English. Like, this is pretty significant that ESL students felt support from the college a lot more than other students. And then I have data about first generation. This means you're the first person in your family to attend college. And there were also interesting results. Actually, first generation students also felt more support from the college in comparison to students who are not first generation. Some things were pretty close to similar, like student-faculty interaction. And also interesting is this active and collaborative learning, that it was actually lower for first generation, that they're not as collaborative or active in their studies and with their classmates. Conclusions made by the college. So in a presentation to the governing board, these were some comments made as a result of this study in terms of where Palomar College stands with student engagement. Palomar student engagement was lower than the students from other extra large colleges, especially in these categories of student effort, academic challenge, and student-faculty interaction. So these are things actually Palomar needs to work on. Making sure students try harder, making sure it's challenging academically, and making sure faculty and students communicate well. But on the plus side, students definitely have a sense of belonging, academic tenacity, and growth mindset, and faculty agree. And in general, they feel good about their educational experience and would recommend the college. There was also a faculty survey, but I'm not going to talk about it. But there were different perceptions. And you can read about that in the executive summary. Now, what are you going to write about? Like I said, outliers, we talked about success in general and how people can be successful or what prevents them. And we talked about opportunity and culture and how that can help people towards success. Now we're going to look at college students at Palomar. What do they need to be able to succeed? And you're actually going to use this survey as evidence to make recommendations for college students. You will write like 2 to 3 paragraphs on the discussion post, okay? It's that discussion post I showed you at the beginning of the video. And you need at least, actually I changed it to 450 words. You're going to write at least 150 words for full points, and it's due on Friday. And you're going to write one comment for at least 30 words by Saturday. So it's shorter. It's pretty short, shorter than half of a regular essay. So I want to try to make this easier for you. Okay, so what do you need to write in your paragraphs? The first 1 or 2 paragraphs, you want to summarize the survey. Introduce the report. Like, what is this report about? And just focus on 1 or 2 benchmarks. I gave you a lot of information. You don't need to talk about all of it. Maybe pick 1 or 2 charts or 1 or 2 benchmarks and then summarize them. What were the results? What was interesting or surprising? And you can use the executive summary, the tables in this PowerPoint, or the benchmark question set that's in the Excel spreadsheet. So that can be your sources for this summary. The second paragraph or third paragraph, you're going to give a recommendation based on the results of this survey on what students said. What do you recommend? What can college students do? What should the college do? And what should teachers do? And I put in this PowerPoint useful phrases for summarizing the survey. Like, you could introduce the study in this way. In 2018, Palomar College participated in the CCSSE, which is, and then you explain the goal. And then maybe you can use this phrase when you talk about something specifically. Looking closely at the student effort benchmark, overall student engagement was higher or lower than other colleges. 46% of Palomar College scored for support for learners, while the score was 60.8% for the 2018 top performing schools. So these are just sentence stems when you talk about percentages. Only 36.2% of Palomar College students strongly agree that this college is preparing me for what I plan to do, compared with 43.2% of other academic mindset respondents. So you could show contrast, comparing. You can use this phrase compared with to show how Palomar College is lower. Among international students, 44.7% of respondents perform slightly lower in active and collaborative learning compared to students whose first language is English. You can even say slightly lower, meaning a little lower. You could also mention the questions from the survey. When asked how often have you ever asked questions in class or contributed to class discussions, the majority answered sometimes. So this means 426 respondents. So these are some sentence frames. And then making recommendations. The survey shows that less or more students at Palomar College are ... compared with other schools. As a solution, the college should or can. The majority of students said that they had never used career counseling. Therefore, it would be helpful if. So you're making recommendations based on what you saw in the survey. In order to improve student effort, students or faculty must. So for this assignment, it actually requires you to look at the data. You need to look to see, okay, well, what was interesting? Like, if I look here, I see that there's a lot of support for ESL students. But if I look here, student effort, it's actually, if I look here, active and collaborative learning, it's actually lower than students whose first language is English. So maybe you can make recommendations like, how can students be more active and collaborative? Or you could go to the Excel spreadsheet and look at some, like one thing I noticed was the college helping you cope with your non-academic responsibilities like work and family. They said quite a few wrote very little. This is a very high percentage, so maybe the college isn't helping them with their academic responsibilities. And I was actually really surprised by this career counseling. 635 said they never got help or never used career counseling. So this shows that maybe the college needs to be doing something more over here. So you got to have to look at the data and see, what do you notice? And think of things like, what can we do to make students more engaged and successful? So to do this assignment, we're going to keep it informal, and you just have to post it on the discussion. Yeah, so it's going to be posted here. Everyone will be able to see it so that we can share ideas and hear what you all think. When you're ready to write, you'll just post it right here. You'll reply, type it, and then post reply. Okay? And you'll be graded. I know this is a final exam, and so you don't have a lot of time to prepare for this. So I'm mostly looking that you're going to be graded based on, okay, did you write at least 450 words? Did you accurately summarize the data? Did you use these, I gave lots of sentence frames, useful phrases. So do you talk about the data in an academic way? And do you accurately represent what was presented here? So that's how you're going to be graded. It's mostly in content. Did you summarize and make recommendations? And less so on grammar. But it's good to, if you can, to please try to reduce the number of grammar errors. I even recommend meeting with me or a tutor for help with it. Okay, good luck and happy writing. In our Zoom sessions and in Melissa's sessions, we will be helping you with this assignment. Okay, so I encourage you to come to our class sessions on Tuesday, Thursday, or Melissa's workshops. Okay, last week, hang in there, everybody. I look forward to reading your writing.